Rounding whole numbers. Angela has a normal resting pulse of 70 beats per minute. However, Angela just started a new job this week and is feeling overwhelmed by all the new tasks. This week, her resting pulse is around 74 beats per minute because of the new stress. Should Angela be worried about her health? So to answer this question, let's create a number line like the one that I already have in front of us. Then we're going to write the numbers 0 to 100 on the line in increments of 10. Now that we've done that, let's circle the 70 to show like that's where her normal resting pulse is. Next, let's identify Angela's current resting pulse on the number line by placing a dot where the number 74 would be. By looking at the number line, it shows that Angela is very close to her normal resting pulse. In fact, healthcare professionals would probably use a process called rounding to determine that Angela is so close to her normal resting pulse that she is just fine. Additionally, Angela has just started a new job, and this has caused temporary stress. Her stress will probably lower as she becomes more used to her job, and her pulse will also go down. Before we move any further, let's talk about some basics. First, there is something called whole numbers. These numbers are the counting numbers. For example, they are 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And when a healthcare professional obtains a pulse, he or she is using whole numbers. For example, in the question with Angela, the numbers 70 and 74 are whole numbers. Next, numbers are also identified by their place values. Let's write this large number to kind of help us show this. So let's start with the ones place. This is where the 7 is at. This is followed by the tens, which is where the 6 is, then the 5, which is the hundreds. And then after the hundreds, there is often a comma right there. That comma tells us the name changes to thousands. So the next place in the 4 is the thousands. Then the next place borrows a little bit from the tens place and calls itself 10,000, which is where the 3 is. Next, we're following a similar pattern, which is 100,000, which is where the 2 is at. Now we have a comma change. That's showing us that we're now changing the name to millions, which is where the ones place is. And then we can continue to go on to 10 millions, 100 millions, and then billions. And so you can see there's a pattern to help you remember. So now for rounding, we're always going to be looking at the next digit. For example, if we are rounding the hundreds place, so say the 5, we would look at the tens place to help us determine if we round. So if we round up, it is because we are between the range of 5 to 9. And if we are going rounding down, it's because we are between 0 to 4. This is very helpful to remember. So now let's work through some examples. Example 2. We are going to be rounding 6,559,357 to the nearest thousand. So let's kind of think aloud as we look at this number. So we're going to go from the ones to the tens to the hundreds to the thousands. Let's underline that 9 to show us that's where we're going to look at. Now we're going to circle the next digit, which is the 3. This is going to help us determine if we round up or down. And so again, we round up if it's between 5 to 9, and round down if it's between 0 to 4. And as 3 is between 0 to 4, we are going to be rounding down. And so we are going to then make our number to be 6,559,357. 9,000. So now what we do is after the digit that is rounded, we make all the other digits to be 0. Let's look at another example. It's the same number, but now we're actually going to be rounding to the nearest 100,000. Once again, we can go from the ones, tens, hundreds, to the thousands, to the 10,000s, to the 100,000s. So let's underline that 5. And now we're going to circle the other 5 because that's what we're looking at to see if we round up or down. And so because 5 is between 5 to 9, we are rounding up. So our answer is going to become 6,600,000. And this is our solution because we always make any digit after what's rounded into zeros. So to review, you round down if it's between 1 to 4, 0 to 4, and then we round up if it's between 5 to 9. Now that we've covered some basics, let's apply the rounding rules back to our pulse scenarios. A healthcare professional takes Bernard's pulse and discovers that it's 44 beats per minute. Since a heart rate of 40 beats per minute or lower could be a sign of a serious heart issue, use rounding to the tens to determine if the healthcare professional should be concerned. For this scenario, we would need to determine how close Bernard is to 40 beats per minute. First, let's write this out. 44. So we want to round to the tens place. And we're going to look at the other 4 to determine if we round up or down. And because 4 is between 0 to 4, we are rounding down. So 44 becomes 40. So therefore, our answer is 40. And since 40 could be a sign of a serious heart issue, the healthcare professional should definitely pay close attention to Bernard.